On your screen, you will see my friend, Israeli activist Mark Halawa from Jerusalem, who was tasked with quite possibly the most horrific job you could ever imagine. So first off, shalom, Mark, but can you tell us what job you were assigned?
Shalom, Raj. A few days after October 7th, a friend of mine from memory reached out and said, I have a whole bunch of videos, 400 plus in total. These videos were part, or the majority of them were GoPro videos. They were from cameras captured on terrorists who stormed southern Israel and committed the massacres and killed some of these guys. And the footage came out later. And some other footage was from Gazan civilians who took with their cell phones and transferred it to their friends and relatives in the West Bank and were intercepted. He said some of these videos are gory, are horrible, and this is essential to go through them. What we want of you is not to translate everything, just watch every video and describe it in one sentence on the file name itself.
And to give some background, you grew up in Kuwait, so you speak fluent Arabic, so that helps you.
You fluent Arabic to a family of so-called Palestinian background. Now, today I live in Jerusalem, and this is one of my friends. He asked me for this favor, and of course, I wanted to jump in and help like everybody else. I didn't know what was there in storage. I started going through these videos. Some videos were easier than others to watch. I saw some barbarity that I never thought I would see in reality. I had to kind of check myself if I'm awake or if I'm watching something like a movie or something real or not real or an act. Some videos were haunting with no blood in them, and others involved literally surgical. There was a video that really haunted me, and I don't want to get so gory and descriptive here in your interview. You could see the guns of the fighter from the GoPro, and fire set to a one-story house, like a small house in that one of kibbutzim. And you see a silhouette of a man coming out. So in Arabic, they say, fi wahad jay, there's somebody coming. So everybody put their guns, and the guy sees them, obviously, and goes back in his home that is being engulfed with fire. He goes back in. So they say, khalas, dakhal juwa, dakhal juwa. That means, that's it, he went in. So the man preferred to go back to his home and just, and rather than come out and be shot. That was one. In other videos, there was a father, there was one man, and children. I did not know they were tied to their chairs, but I saw the terrorists cutting the mother open and taking a baby out. And I was wondering, am I seeing right? Am I okay? And I'm looking, how are they not moving? And then all I could conclude was, from my amateur experience, is that they were all tied up and taped up. And you could see some tiny movement of the father. And a baby was taken out of that mother that was cut up. This touched me to the core. And all I could think about was my children. I mean, I live in Jerusalem. We're a 5-minute drive were areas that are, with a populated or heavy population of, let's say, Arabs and Muslims. They're not all bad. These are people that I've met before. They're just probably wonderful people, the majority of them. But if there were some bad elements that were that decided to come over and to come to our neighborhoods, it would take them 5 to 7 minutes to drive, maybe 5 minutes at full speed on empty streets. And what if you were stormed by 1,000 armed guys? He's like, we don't need 1,000, Mark. 500 would be enough. We will not stand a chance. And they would storm through us. You could imagine the fear going to bed every night that somebody's going to come over, break through your house, just like these videos that I saw. This robbed me of sleep for many, many nights. And I was not the only person, I discovered later on. I spoke with my neighbors, and the other one that I know very well, my neighbor, a good friend of mine, who we exchanged days of delivering the kids to school, we go to the same schools, said, Mark, I have 4 girls, and I did the same exact thing. I slept also on the couch, and I never actually slept. I thought I slept, but I did not sleep. I was on the couch with my weapon of choice.
Mark, my brother, I am so sorry that you had to go through that. And while you're here, I want to bring you an objection that you hear at, let's call it, anti-Israel protests, which is, hey, the events of October 7th, you Israelis, you're overblowing it. Yeah, maybe some people got shot, but there was no barbarity. There were no massacres. You guys are exaggerating. As someone who's literally watched the videos, how would you respond?
Well, in a way, it's easy. I would tell them there are videos and there are images of almost everything you need to guess and see and know. When you see whether it's images of ladies who are naked from the waist down with legs spread open and then charred on fire, some of them, and some of them not fully burnt. When you see bodies of people literally hugging each other and burnt and everything else that I've seen, I would tell them I've seen with my own eyes images and videos. I had similar conversations in Stockholm this summertime. My wife went somewhere just on Friday afternoon to go shopping downtown or an area called Östermalm in Stockholm. And there was a big demonstration, and I was going to meet her. So I hurried up. She was with the children. I wanted to be with her. I see those who are demonstrating. I could barely spot one or two or three maybe who were maybe Arab, maybe Middle Easterners. I had a conversation with an older gentleman. I told him I'm a Palestinian. I grew up with there. He's like, okay. I told him, why you're demonstrating? He's like, because this, and that. It's the same argument that you mentioned right now, Raj, that because of the genocide being committed. I'm like, I've seen some of the images that came out. I live there. Here, I'll show you my ID. Do you think what Hamas did to the people of Israel, wouldn't that be called genocide? They have kidnapped Muslims, Christians, and Jews. Of course, the majority are Israelis, but they also kidnapped people of their own, and they killed Arabs and Muslims. So these are facts out there. Now, some people are willing to listen and talk, and some people are they're coming for a job, and their job is to spread chaos, and they might know reality, but they choose not to. Their job is to deflect it and create their own narrative. They would commit the crime, and they will go accuse you of it. Like when I was a kid, when I was taught about anti-Semitism, I was told, "Oh, Jews, drink the blood of, children," and I believed that. I completely believed that. The first time I visited Israel, Raj, was in 2009. I started learning about Israel, but in my mind, I thought Israel was apartheid because of all of what I heard. I did not go through that. I didn't process it. I believed that Israel was apartheid, and I thought maybe it's necessary to keep people apart. I came here and I went to the old city. You've been to the old city. We've been together at the old city. Honest to God, I don't know who's Arab and who's Jewish and who's Christian and who's a tourist. People look the same. Humans look the same. So you're told your worst nightmare and your worst fears in these demonstrations that makes you angry and makes you want to side with these protests. These are well-crafted, non-organic protests. And the proof they are false are the evidence, the hard evidence that everybody's seen out there. There are pictures, there are videos, and they've taken them themselves, and you could hear their own language saying them. And there's more.
Yeah. Well, Mark, you are a wealth of information, but more than that, I just love you as a brother. And I am. Thank you for sharing what you had to do. I feel bad that it had to be you, but I think you were definitely used for a purpose that is a really important purpose. Well, Mark, thank you for sharing your stories and for speaking the truth because I feel like you are in such a unique position in the fact that you watched the videos, you've seen it firsthand. So, Mark Halawa, Toda Rabah, thank you, my brother.
Thank you. I appreciate your time, and thank you for giving me a chance to speak.